Hello, Blem Fandango. I am late today, which I do apologize before. It may fuck up the people watching, and I do apologize for that. But I hope you're all good. Hope you're having a nice day. I certainly am. I just did a TikTok live. I won't be always doing that, but as I said, slightly later live today. It's not been the busiest of news day. Someone just said that there's been some kind of attack in Paris. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you guys. How you have the patience to talk to those people. Because I'm going to be real with you here. For some people, I think that the only benefit is it might make some people feel more confident in talking about Palestine. And for them, great. But it's also just content, you know. It's just content, unfortunately. And that's why I do it. I don't think it achieves much. I don't think even debates between people who know more achieve much. As I've said before, the only reason I debated Lonerbox a second time is because I think I gave a bad account of myself the first time. But hello, Scouty Paws. How religious people keep insisting values and ethics come only from religion, as if they aren't something that comes from necessity in society. Well, also, when you're talking about like values that developed and all of this stuff, surely you would say that another really consequential thing is things like the Enlightenment, which is in part like a rejection of, religion, right? Religiosity is like the governing principle. Good. My God, your TikTok lives from my brain. I know. I apologize. Not everyone likes them, but if they're not for everyone, that's totally okay. I get it. I appreciate people not loving them necessarily, but yeah, if they're not for you, they're not for you. Oh, Neo Yume, thank you for the 3rd super chat. Thank you for the 99 cents with the emoji. Thank you for. I'm going to delete that comment because I'm not sure whether you're just being bigoted. Is of Lebanese origins. I don't know what that's about. Are you going to talk about the Al Jazeera Gaza layoffs? I looked into it, but I didn't really understand what Al Jazeera's justification was. I can talk about the story if you want, but I hadn't seen what Al Jazeera's justification was. I kept meaning to follow that up. Someone also said there's an attack in Paris. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. And hello, boy... Bola Yelund, this is your first ever comment, so nice. Hello. What's going on in Paris? It's not even on the BBC yet. Someone said there's another attack in Paris right now. Your life is like seeing a car crash. Okay. Thank you. Oh, you mean TikTok lives? I thought you were just saying in general. I thought you were just saying in general. I was like, I appreciate it. I thought you were just talking about my general lives, and I was like, how come you're watching? Okay, there is some sort of stabbing in Paris. That's awful. I saw the attack in Berlin as well. Horrible. Sucks. So the Chinese gave the US orders to stop shooting. Yeah. I know, there have been quite a few attacks. Did they say who did the shooting in Seattle? I heard it was between 2 people. Was it like a targeted attack? Or was it... there were 2 people shooting at each other and then they accidentally killed other people? Or what was it? Manufacturing center, am I conspiracy chart? I think it is conspiracy chart, by the way. The belief that there aren't people who hold regressive beliefs amongst any religion is kind of dumb. Like, I think it is. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if there were people who were doing these attacks. What happened in Berlin? Someone drove a car. I don't know what it is about Germany and car ramming attacks, by the way. It seems to be the most common thing to happen in Germany when it comes to attacks. No idea why. But yeah, a pride parade was attacked, I believe. A pride parade was attacked, and it was by the Brandenburg Gate. It's awful. It sucks. It's not, you know, I think it's like a general problem of just this rising bigotry. It's rising from all people. You know, you have that young Bob guy in the UK who's doing it from the Christian side, but so far most of the attacks are by Islamists. Have you seen Gary's Economics has quit making content? Germany does have bollards. That's the thing. The guy who did it, yeah, I saw that. We have bollards everywhere here for that reason. Germany has loads of bollards as well. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. In the USA. That is actually true. There have been some in the UK. And you're over well. How is everyone? I think I'm good. Thank you. Good to see you, Timer Tutu. Why did he quit what? Who quit what? Who quit what? Okay, right. We're gonna do the Wordle. Plain. Ooh. I'm gonna do power. Ooh. Poker? Is that all it could be? But yeah, it has to be poker, right? Oh my god, it's not poker. Poser? Poda? Poker? Poser? Poba? Oh, he quit because of backlash, I think. That's the reason he quit. I don't know. That was actually a pretty good Wordle. I wish I got it quicker. I actually saw... Oh, hold on, actually. I'll talk about that in a second. God, I really hate training legs. It fucks me up. When it comes to Gary's economics, I saw him in real life one time. I saw him at the last pro-Palestine march I went to, not the most recent one. I couldn't make that one because I was busy. Oh, it's really cold and wet. Oh my god, this bottle of water. It was really busy that weekend, so I didn't end up going. But yeah, here we go. Thank you, KARHP. KRHP, have you just become a member or subscriber? I don't know. It's saying you have, but if you have, nice. If you haven't, don't worry. Thank you for supporting the channel as always. Gary's economics quit making videos. I never really watched him that much, so yeah. I hate training legs. It makes them hurt so much. We can do the connections too. Why do you only see serial killers / car rammings? What are you talking about? That's absolutely not true. They, Russia has it a lot but Russia, I guess you can include as the West if you want, but I would kind of say, like, yeah, I guess Russia is part of, you know, like, in part of Europe, part of Asia. But yeah, these things happen all over, and you just don't hear about them. Like in Indonesia, I think Indonesia had a school shooting not long ago, right? If I remember correctly. By how nasty the people on TikTok can be. I don't know how you manage. I don't care. I mean, in terms of the stuff they say, it's repugnant, of course, but it's just these people exist and I interact with them ever. Chris, have you ever captured the imagination of a beautiful woman? That is one thing I will say. If you don't watch the TikTok lives, you do occasionally miss gold, such as the guy who said, have you ever captured the imagination of a beautiful woman? And I was like, 100% I have. My damn girlfriend, the most beautifulest woman ever. But yeah, yeah. It's just so is life, you know. It is odd that an older generation is called boomer. Never mind. I don't know. Also, I'm trying to think of like serial killers in other countries. I don't know. I know that there are like Russian serial killers. Let's look up Chinese serial killers. Would you guys be up if I started doing a series on Chinese serial killers and learn a little bit of Chinese? What do you think about that? Yeah, what do you think about that? Had a podcast a little while back about the ideology of a lot. Yeah, that was a really good thing. That was really good. It's very heavy in Russia, though, as well. I don't know why it's so heavy there. So Zhang Yongming is apparently a Chinese serial murderer. Confessed the murder of 11 people. So, are you a fan of failed bakery owners? Well, I think, by the way, I'm going to start making more weekly, shorter form videos instead of like the big clavicular ones, because it did all right. It's done pretty well. Speak a little Chinese for them. I keep seeing this. There's this really great TikTok account that I worry I'll get demonetized for showing, so I'm not going to do that. Um,
You don't decom.
I wonder if I can show this. Do you think I can show like 10 seconds of Breaking Bad clips edited together? No, I probably shouldn't. But I'd highly recommend media. This, I didn't know this happened, but apparently Breaking Bad is about a man who can't stop speaking Chinese. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, the thing is there are serial killers all over the world. I don't think it's something specific to. No, I don't think it's specific to anywhere. What if you do a collaboration with Adrian Zenz? I don't know who Adrian Zenz is. It's also windy outside. Yeah, give them chipmunk voice. That's what Isaac was saying he's going to do. Isaac is putting out a podcast. Do you think the Holodomor was a genocide? I'm not enough of an expert. I've only watched a certain gentleman's video about it. I'm not really that familiar with Russian history. I've listened to A People's Tragedy by Orlando Fikes, but that was years ago now. I think people say that it isn't. I think people say that Holodomor isn't a genocide, but that doesn't necessarily absolve the Soviet Union. Are you done debating? I don't debate on YouTube as of now, and I don't know that I will. I have thought about but I don't know if people would be interested in this. Sometimes I do like earlier sometimes I start earlier on there. I could just merge the two of them together, and I don't know if people would be interested in that. Ukrainian history, yes. I guess I meant history of the Soviet Union as opposed to Russia. Maybe there's so many serial killers in America because of maybe because of they all love individualism and they all love individually killing people. Canada has quite a lot too. And the UK. The UK's got loads of famous serial killers. It's perpetuated either in home or by people you know, or imperialism. Yeah. Did Adrian Zenz actually create the myth that it was the Uyghur genocide thing? Oh, he's German. He's strange looking. Fair play. Okay, right, let's do this. Stalactite, icicle, beam, rings? Things that hang from the ceiling? No. Pointy things? Carrot? Pointed things like that? I did not know that he died before that. When were the Soviet archives were opened? When were they opened? Do you believe in the Uyghur genocide? I mean, I'm sure that there are some people at least who've made like a convincing argument about cultural erasure and stuff and the policies of the Chinese state in specific places, and I'm sure that people can, but it's kind of crazy that you hear people who just do it, just say it so openly and how openly accepted that was. I don't know. I'm going to put knitting needle in there. Pointed things? Yeah. Long tapered things. That's it. Cart, horse. Doppler, as in the karambit knife. Magnifying glass, paradigm, Doppler. I don't know. Beam? I don't know. No. Light beam. Carrot, stick, horse, cart. Why? Wait, we've already used carrot. Well, that's why I said cultural erasure falls under genocide. That's why I'm saying that people making convincing could make a convincing argument of it. Like, that's why I'm saying it. Okay. Ah, rings, beam, horse, vault. You're right. Gymnastics things. Oh, are these different effects? Spell effect? No. Yard? No. I mean, I find genocide to just be a problematic term in the sense of we have to kind of dance around the UN definition, and I think the UN definition kind of sucks. Would taking the Doctor Who episodes off iPlayer, but yeah, 100%, 100%. Hello, Fit, good to see you. Stick cart. Paradigm shift, stick shift. Oh, it's things ending in shift. What's the other one, though? Heart shift? Stick shift, paradigm shift. Shifts. Paradigm, Doppler, graveyard. Oh, graveyard shift. Oh, damn. And they're all together like that. Bell cart, magnifying glass. What are these? Icons on a shopping site. Oh, fuck off. I'm not on the shopping sites. Enjoy the video about clavicular variant. I don't know if you edit your stuff yourself, but if you ever need to help with anything like that, then I would like to chip in. I'm doing TikToks on politics in my own country and also doing photojournalism. I mean, Ethan's Basement normally helps me with editing, but like for now, I just want to do it myself. Maybe in the future, but we'll see. I normally do, sometimes I edit streams, but I haven't been doing the streams. I want to get better at that. Like, you know, I see Isaac and stuff having a lot of success with that, but I haven't been so hot on that kind of stuff. Let's pull something up. I had a couple of... Oh my god, wait. Trump has been doing some amazing posting recently. He was posting some crazy shit. I accidentally closed the docs I needed. 1 second. Yeah, Trump has been posting some really insane shit. He posted this, where he actually kind of looks like the spitting... I assume because he's asked AI. AI has relied on, like, representations of Trump, and it kind of makes him look like the spitting image puppet. Let me show you. Like, for some reason, he kind of looks like a spitting image puppet there, version of himself. But he's saying that he's the cosmic commander, which is something, to say the least. Yeah, he really went on a rampage of AI spam last night. He really went on one. Hold on 1 second. Oh, the wind is blowing my thing. Tell me if the light's bad. But yeah, he posted this as well. He posted all of these. Guardian of the World. USA, Iran, Iran. The Man Who Saved America. Guardian Angels of the World. USA, Iran, Iran. Guardian Angels of the World. USA, Iran, Iran. I don't know why he's not depicted the Nussi. God, that final photo of him is crazy. But I don't know. I saw a funny take, which I don't have to hands, but he posted another thing saying, oh, this is it. Barry with the Ned reckons that Trump just posts this shit when he's having a bad day. And look at this one. Strike on Haag. He also posted this one. It's our oil tanker now. He posted 3 different versions of this image, so he's got to be making them or having someone... There is no way Trump is making these. No more engines. If someone posted this about Trump, it would be cringe. Posting it about yourself is even more cringe. Yeah. No, I don't know. This is kind of cool. It makes me so angry because it gave most of the insane rate a free play. I kind of briefly mentioned it, but I haven't fully talked about it. Maybe we will. I guess we'll see. But yeah. Oh, I enjoyed this. By the way, at first I was kind of like, it's not really that surprising. But then I thought about this. This is kind of crazy, okay? So a Hebrew language ad in Athens airport promotes apartments for sale to Israelis. The world refused to stop the Zionist colonization of Palestine, and now they're trying to colonize the globe. Whilst I'm not necessarily sure that this is like indicative of Israeli attempts to colonize the globe, it is kind of crazy that there is just like an ad in Cyprus airport specifically for Israelis. Maybe they make up the majority of tourists, but you would kind of expect it to be in English to advertise this kind of shit, right? Because more people would read it, I guess. I don't know. And then this one, this is the translation. You won't be able to say Yasu, and you already have an apartment in Athens. A variety of apartments throughout the city, starting from 90,000 euros. By the way, that is pretty cheap for an apartment. But this is the crazier one. So, for some reason, you can see ads for Gadi Eisenkot in Cyprus. So this shows an Israeli electoral campaign ad promoting war criminal Gadi Eisenkot, creator of the genocidal Dahia doctrine, and his party Yashar. It reads, Israelis, enjoy, you deserve it. Hold on. I'm using the blue towel. You know how it gets. So sorry, this is... In the Babylonian Talmud, it is said any place that is directly across from Eretz Yisrael, including the sea itself, is considered part of Eretz Yisrael. Crazy. Turim is big in Cyprus, but that's crazy. It does feel kind of crazy, and like, I don't know, I feel like if you're selling apartments in Cyprus and you're using a like a foreign language, would you just not choose English? Maybe I'm just being dumb. Yeah, Israelis get married in Cyprus, or they get married on Zoom. They get married via Zoom in Utah. So they like Zoom someone from Utah to do it. I don't know. It is pretty crazy. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, are so cheap because people still living in them. On the Babylonian Talmud and game theory. Well, I mean, you're mocking it, but hold on one moment. Give me one moment. Quick question. They say he has radicalized ISIS terrorists, but is ISIS not long gone? Do they even exist? No, ISIS, the Islamic State, still exists. Yes, the Islamic State is doing pretty fucking well. And like Islamic State affiliated militant Islamist groups are doing pretty fucking well in Africa, in places like Mali, all over. The Islamic State affiliated groups do exist. The guys who carried out an attack on Bondi Beach, were they in the Philippines? Like, ISIS-style states exist. They're just ISI, I guess, as opposed to Islamic State in Syria. Where's the clip of Professor Zhang? Professor Zhang.
Soccer player in the whole world. Soccer player in the whole world. No one can beat you. You're basically Messi, okay? But one day, for example, for whatever reason, you wake up and you lose all your memory. You forget what your name is. You forget who your friends are. You even forget that you play soccer. And what's also really strange is the entire world forgets that you play soccer. Just wandering around and you have no idea who you are. And you do this for like 10 years. Suddenly one day, for whatever reason, you're on a soccer field and someone kicks you a ball and you kick it back. Would you still be the best soccer player in the world? The answer is yes, you would be, right? Why? Because you've been trained. It's muscle memory. It's your subconscious. So that's the trick here. The trick is to...
Sorry, what is this? Ra, Isis, Osiris...
Train you
these Egyptian gods.
in a certain way to make you a robot. Is it possible for me to make someone into a killer? Yes, because what I do is I make that person take a lot of psychedelics, and then train that person to shoot someone with a gun, okay? And then while he's shooting that person, I use the word abracadabra. So what happens is the person, if he's walking, has a gun, all they do is use the word abracadabra, takes the gun and shoots someone, okay? So through programming, I can turn anyone to a robot, I can turn anyone into a sex robot, a killer robot, even a sex killer robot.
A killer sex robot? What the hell is going on Professor Zhang's? Okay, here's the one I actually wanted.
I predict these two things. First of all, in like 5 to 10 years' time, Messi will run as president, and he'll win easily. And if he wins, he
I love how Sneeko is nodding along to this.
be there for the next 20 years, right? And Heaven Melee will be the puppet master behind the scenes. But Messi will do a lot of things that will be really bad for Argentina, but he'll get away with it because he's Messi, right? So I believe that if Messi becomes president, one of the first things he'll do is allow mass immigration into Argentina, specifically Indians into Argentina. So I
What on earth?
Hey.
Oh my god, there is a 6-minute video here. Professor Zhang, Israel want Argentina to win the World Cup so that Messi can be the next president of Argentina. Wow. I'm not watching six minutes of Professor Zhang, but this is incredible.
the World Cup, right, between Argentina and Spain. And I want to argue to you today, and what happens in the game is going to tell us a lot about the current state of the world.
Oh, did I just get banned on Twitch? Oh, am I live? Hello? Hello, everyone? Oh? Did I just get banned? Oh no, I'm there. You're fine on Twitch. Awesome.
In fact, Polymarket has Spain winning at, the odds of Spain winning are about 59%, which is very, very high, considering this is the World Cup final. I think that there's a lot of people who are upset at how unfair this World Cup has been. So if you compared Argentina's matches in 2022 versus this year, it's night and day. So to get to the finals, they had to defeat the Netherlands and Croatia. And in this year's matchup, they had to defeat...
I'm not listening to this. Ferran Torres turning into Fernando Torres. Yeah, I know. I don't know. This is the kind of thought with which I don't even think I have the ability to engage with. Refresh chat. The stream is fine. Awesome. For a second though, that's what my Chatterino shows. Interesting one. The thing is my internet, it should be fixed. I don't know. Am I lagging? I don't know. He might be right that Messi could be prime minister of a president of Argentina, but I don't know. I don't think that the World Cup is indicative of whether that will or will not happen. Also, guess what we're about to do? We're going to watch a Chris Kunzler TikTok, because I'm not going to do a full segment about it. Oh, shit. Wait, why am I logged out on TikTok? Oh, no, I'm not. Okay. Strange things are happening. Whew. I thought I was just debanked by the government. We're going to watch a Chris Kunzler TikTok.
We need to...
Here we go.
to talk about what is happening to Venezuela, because it is perfect proof of why you should never trust US intervention. Because since the US overthrew Maduro, they have stolen about $13 billion worth of...
By the way, if any of you want to check this out, I'd highly recommend having a look at this article by the Financial Times. They're like $300 million have gone from have gone from the US to Venezuela, and that's it.
Venezuelan oil that they have sold, and then no one really knows what has happened to the money apart from the fact that it has not gone to the Venezuelan people. Venezuela has been turned into a literal colony of the United States that is run by Marco Rubio. This guy was literally announcing policies and foreign visits.
This is actually by the way, the New York Times does have great posts occasionally. So they're saying that the Trump administration even exerts control over Miss Rodriguez's public appearances and statements. In May, Mr. Rubio announced that Miss Rodriguez would travel to India before the Venezuelan government even mentioned it.
For Delcy...
Wait, what? It's mute. What are you talking about?
Rodriguez before she even did. And just a few days ago, Venezuela left the internet.
What the fuck is going on with my stream? Seriously, what the hell?
National Criminal Court just after Marco Rubio stated that he was going to dismantle it. Marco Rubio is literally ruling over another country and stealing the oil revenue from them, and they need this money because just a few weeks ago...
Sorry, I actually cannot believe that a few months ago there's like this whole, or even still now, there's this whole movement of people who are just like, oh my God, you have to listen to local Venezuelan voices. The left just won't listen to the local Venezuelan people. But like, the thing is that it was obvious what the US was going to do, and it was never going to be a good thing for for Venezuela. They invaded the country and ruled over it. If you think Maduro's unaccountable, the fuck do you think that the US government is going to be?
I'm sure many of you remember the massive earthquake, which apparently will cost about $37 billion in damages, but Venezuela doesn't have that because the US stole their money. So that's why you should never fall for this lie pushed by liberals that US interventionism is ever good and that leftists just need to listen to local Venezuelan voices, because the US doesn't intervene for moral reasons, it intervenes to steal things and take power. We need to talk.
Like, I would recommend looking into these articles because, yeah, it's just local Venezuelan voices from Miami or London or from wherever. They effectively, yeah, I mean, they do effectively have a gun to her head. She really can't do anything. She really can't do anything, but it is, yeah. Doesn't like Maduro or even Chavez. He misses the president before them, but he hated seeing America invade it. Crazy. I mean, Chavez was like, yeah. I saw you organically on IG in a random algo, so this one went places it doesn't normally go. That video was not particularly a popular video either. It was not one of my bigger ones. My other video that I posted about the guy from the West Bank who shot the 2 Israeli settlers was really did really well on TikTok. Although apparently he didn't even shoot one of them. One of them was just shot by another soldier. Yeah, I mean, already this year has seen 2 massive losers: Maria Corina Machado and Reza Pahlavi. Reza Pahlavi is the bigger loser, though. I think I missed this. I think I didn't comment on it. Reza Pahlavi, actually, this is such an amazing statement. I have to show it.
I began receiving some, DMs in my social media by elements that say, I'm a Basiji in Mashhad, or I'm a member of the IRGC in such and such country. We hate this regime. We're not with them. We're looking for an opportunity to break away, blah, blah, blah. It was really a casual. And when I said to the media that I'm in touch with elements like that, it was in that context. It's not that, like, in fact...
It is actually unbelievable that this is real. That this guy said that he had 50,000 defectors, and he admitted himself there that the defectors who he was in touch with were like random guys on Instagram. That's it. Kind of crazy that that's what you have to hear.
Talking to the IRGC command, not at all. But there were elements of the Basij, of the Sepah, of course the military as well, that would communicate with me. Discreetly, and obviously as a sign that, you know what, this is what the deal is.
Machado daughter or Pahlavi son? Impossible choice. Both? Both, and then they could debate democracy and human rights or something, or whether the US should invade and destroy their country. I actually cannot believe that as well. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if some random guy who's like in the besieged messaged him.
My position.
Or like a member messaged him. But to use that to say I have thousands of defectors is crazy. Also, he was also saying, we are now at the decisive stage of our final struggle. I urge you to secure your essential provisions as soon as possible, and for your own safety, withdraw from the streets and remain in your homes. The fact that there were so many people who told you that Pahlavi was like the legitimate king is unbelievable. Omid Jalili was in the British media as some sort of like Iran expert and commentator, and when he was there, he was saying like, there's only one man. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Wait, let me show you this. This is BBC. This was BBC News. This is who was on there. Now have a listen to this.
Alex, I'm amazed you say that. I'm absolutely shocked and outraged. Are you not following what's going on? It's so clear to me. A lot of people are not watching what's going on. There are massive demonstrations. I've seen them all, and I can see they are chanting for one person. I'm not a fan of anybody. I'm just saying what I observe. Yep. It's Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of the former Shah. Yep. Now, whether a monarchy comes back, he seems to be someone who is saying, I don't want power. It's my responsibility to go back and facilitate the transition towards a secular democratic elections and have a government. And if people want a monarchy, it'll be a constitutional monarchy, which will be in tandem, like Britain, with a government. Now, whatever.
You know, if anything was definitively manufactured about those protests, do you reckon Mossad just had agents on the ground who were like chanting Javeed Shah? Because the times that the Iranians like apparently have chanted about the Shah previously is they chanted for not even for the previous Shah, they chanted for his grandfather because they were like, yeah, he oppressed, he was like oppressive of Muslims basically, and so they chanted that apparently.
Whatever you think of him, he's a unifying figure. He represents national unity to bring this regime down. That's why they're calling for his name.
I agree with you. It is very interesting that he has got involved. I think that in contrast to previous interventions, he has been more skillful. He's signposted that this is going towards a democracy and a constitutional assembly, etc. He's also a very divisive figure in Iran. And I think...
Not at the moment.
I think, well... I think he.
I'm not speaking as a fan. This is what I'm observing. Sure. You can't say it's divided. Right now, they are totally unified. Sorry, carry on.
Imagine saying that. Like, the fact that this was on BBC as analysis, a serious analysis, that Reza Pahlavi is not a divisive figure, that he is... Everyone wants him. I'll see what Omid Jalili has been tweeting. Oh, he loved this speech. He absolutely loved this speech by some American guy.
Yesterday we saw...
you know what? I'm not listening to some American prattle on about Iran. I think I've heard enough of that. If I need a funny palate cleanser... Does it have music on, though? Remember that. I think The Guardian's actually really bad for copyright, mate. I'm pretty sure. I seem to recall The Guardian hits me pretty hard with copyright, so I'm not actually going to watch that. Thank you for sending it, though. Yeah. I can't believe that Omid Jalili was up to that. I can't believe he was up to that. That was who they had on. Oh, also, by the way, the spinning seal incident was fucking tragic. I don't know if any of you have heard this. I don't know why they're releasing this. So Wall Street Journal have done some kind of like Lindsey Graham documentary, and every clip of him reminds me of the fact that You know when people are like, the left always mock the dead, and it's like, when the dead is Lindsey Graham, this bloodthirsty maniac, what is there to say? Have a listen to this.
Able to deliver. Oh, to be honest with you, I think about 3 to 4 weeks, we should have them in a spot where they start losing control of some cities. And what we're trying to do is just get a few cities to fall in the next month. Get the Arabs more openly involved tomorrow or by the end of the week.
Julian Perez, thank you for following me from TikTok.
And just have almost irreversible momentum.
Kind of incredible. So basically he was admitting that they were trying to collapse the Iranian government. And as Trita Parsi pointed out, once again, the funny thing about Lindsey Graham is people are like, oh, Lindsey Graham was a brilliant politician. Lindsey Graham, everything he advocated for was just destroying countries. And if what he wanted was destroying countries, then it went pretty well. It went pretty well. He destroyed countries pretty well, but he didn't achieve anything he claimed he was going to. I don't know. Like, yeah, not a single city has fallen inside of Iran. This is all just like living in the world of this man's fantasies. These fantasies of some deranged caricature of some bloodthirsty senator. Watch this as well.
Everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that
Look what we've done here.
I know.
I almost cried.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long have we been pushing this?
Well, I mean, you've been pushing this for years, right?
Right. It's here. I talked to Trump this morning.
It's literally...
Oh, he's jacked.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever done. He loves blowing.
I'm so glad that before Lindsey Graham passed away, he got to see his policy fail and blow up in his face.
Stuff.
Why is Brent at 89? Yanbu and Jazan are on fire. Lloyds isn't insuring Saudi ships. The Hormuz is still closed and Iran is still bombing Kuwait and tankers. Because I think that there is a pretty strong belief that it will not carry on, but still there are a lot of questions as to whether that is a correct belief to hold. I mean, I will get into that in a bit, but it's crazy watching this guy. I haven't seen this full documentary, but just watching him laugh, this was like the time they were just killing all of these people.
So, you know, there are a lot of people inside didn't want to do it, so I've had my challenges. But President Trump, when he gets into the zone, he listens, he asks good questions, you know, no tweeting. He has done nothing, he hasn't tweeted much at all, no drama. He's been a great wartime president. I said last night that Trump and Bibi are like Roosevelt and Churchill. I mean, they're the right two guys to confront this evil.
Aren't you missing someone from there? A certain leader of the Soviet Union who might be missing from your statement there. Him dying is still the best thing he ever did. Oh, you can't say that. You can't say mean things about horrible people. Guys, come on. Here's another one where he calls Netanyahu.
Speaker, Ryan?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right, connecting you now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, Bibi, Lindsey.
Hey, Lindsey. How are you?
I'm just so impressed. Glad to be your friend.
I'm glad you are my friend.
I'm going to meet with the president
Imagine calling Netanyahu your personal friend.
this weekend. I'm going down to Doral. I'm going to try to get him to join with y'all in Lebanon, to maybe fly some with you. Would you like that?
Yeah, I get that. I think you have a point, but I've been thinking about the other side of it for a second. We're concentrating right now on Iran. If we tell Hezbollah that we're going all the way, we threaten them, but if we actually do it,
Okay.
then they have no reason not to go all the way against us. And right
Okay.
now,
That is actually pretty crazy, by the way, that Netanyahu is willing to admit that he knows that Hezbollah isn't going all the way against him. I'm not sure if he would have wanted that to be public, that he knows that that could not have happened. That is kind of crazy.
that's not our interest. We
Okay.
can do it later.
Well, okay.
That if Hezbollah was attacking Israel fully, as they were fighting against Iran, that it would have been negative for Israel. That's probably a thing that you would not like to be public, right?
Okay, well, that's actually good counsel. I'll put it out there as an idea. We can always go back to it.
Bibi should go. Well, that's what Netanyahu is actually currently doing. Netanyahu is in the US to go and watch Lindsey Graham's funeral or some bullshit. I don't know, just what an utterly disastrous policy. And citing this guy as some, like, normal just figure in US politics. It's just insane. He is creepy as well. Hezbollah drone striking and targeting. Yeah, Hezbollah aren't doing... Hezbollah's major issue is pressure from the government of Lebanon. You can tell that as well. That Hezbollah cannot just carry out or do as it pleases because it is within Lebanon. I don't know if anything is even happening. I haven't seen much. Yeah, it is just kind of crazy. Netanyahu, the Times of Israel is reporting, Netanyahu talked Graham out of lobbying Trump to join war on Hezbollah. Kind of crazy to read a statement like that as well, that a foreign leader is counseling Lindsey Graham on how to lobby Trump. Just, I don't know. Yeah, insane. I did enjoy Mamdani,
Joining me now.
Netanyahu gave his opinions on Mamdani's attempt to arrest him.
This Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the man himself, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good to be.
What was Electronic Intifada's take recently? What was their take recently about the Zoran stuff?
Here with you, Maria.
So, Prime Minister, you just heard what Zoran Mamdani had to say. He's calling you a war criminal. You're not welcome in New York City. We, of course, also heard from...
Oh, he got rid of the horrible photo of him and Sarah, or just Sarah, and now he's got a picture of him and Sarah, or is it behind him?
President Trump on this, and many others who said this is absolutely not happening. But what are your plans? Are you still going to come to the UN General Assembly? Are you concerned about coming to New York?
No, I'm not concerned, and I certainly intend to do so. I've appeared just about every year, not every year, but almost every year in my prime ministership, unless there are security conditions. But barring that, and I don't expect that to be the case this time, yes, I do intend to come to New York.
The International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for you and your former defense minister for genocide. What is your response to this?
Well, the one who promoted that was the ICC, the International Criminal Court prosecutor, who has since been completely exposed as a criminal. He himself was going to face charges of sexual harassment by 2 women. He knew that. And he was going to come to Israel, and he spoke warmly about Israel's judicial system and the fact that there has to be an extensive investigation before any conclusions are gone. And on the day that he was supposed to visit Israel, he canceled everything, called a news conference, and accused me and the former defense minister of war crimes. Now, we learned why. Because a few days before that, he was basically confronted by his chief of staff, who said, you know, these 2 employees of you, female employees of yours, are going to charge you with the sexual crimes. So he thought, how am I going to divert my criminality to something that will protect me? And the best way, he thought, was Israel bashing, and frankly, bashing me, and thereby getting the envelope, the protection of all the anti-Israel crowd. And that's basically what he did, and it worked for a while. But then the truth came out by various organizations, including the left-wing newspapers, The Guardian. And as it came out, he lost his job. He thought, if there's an indictment...
See, obviously, I don't doubt that there is, like, veracity to the allegations about Karim Khan. I'm sure that there's plausibility to them. But the major issue with all of this really fucking is that Netanyahu and all of his lackeys are using this in their campaign against the International Criminal Court. As I mentioned, the US probably forced Venezuela to withdraw from the International Criminal Court. Like, I'm pretty sure they did, because the reason that Venezuela gave was that the reason that Venezuela gave that they were apparently gonna leave the International Criminal Court was bias against the South, the global South. But the thing is that recently is probably one of the first times that the International Criminal Court has shown not a bias towards the global South through launching the case against Israel. But apparently now is the time to leave the International Criminal Court days after Marco Rubio says he will. Okay, that's kind of weird to me. I haven't seen anything about the allegations being debunked. I haven't.
I'm going to have a job. There was an indictment, and he lost his job because he was removed by a vast majority of nations who knew that he was a con job. So his name is Karim Khan. He pulled a con job on the international community with these
100% as well. That is the thing. If he was pro-Israel and he was accused of this stuff, he would just he'd be given a promotion. He'd be allowed to move to Israel.
bogus charges of war crimes on us. Now he's going to be in the dock. And I think that tells you that the whole thing that the mayor of New York is basing himself on, this criminals, bogus charges, that's what he's using. And look at what he's doing. He's fomenting hate. He's supposed to be the mayor of all New Yorkers. Yeah, also, the ICJ and ICC is bunk. They might not have been able to do that much, but what I will say about the ICJ and the ICC is, why would now be the time that you'd leave as a result of bias against the Global South? Investigation against Karim Khan. I'm just looking at this. So it says here, the court's independent oversight mechanism opened an investigation, but the case was later closed after the alleged victim declined to participate. Critics of the process argued that the investigation had been mishandled. Investigators ultimately said there was insufficient evidence to substantiate the allegations. A second referral was made in October 2024. The matter was then transferred to the UN Office of Internal Oversight Services, which conducted a broader investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. That inquiry ran from November and generated more than 5,000 pages. The OIOS findings were subsequently reviewed by a panel of 3 judges tasked with asking whether Karim Khan's conduct amounted to serious misconduct, less serious misconduct, or no misconduct. The allegations have unfolded during a period of exceptional pressure. It doesn't mention what was found then. OIOS. Karim. So wait, but this is saying here, the Bureau's decision that Prosecutor Khan engaged in serious misconduct and serious breach of duty was based on its assessment of the OIOS, the underlying evidentiary material, and the advice of ad hoc panel, all within the legal framework governing allegations of misconduct by elected officials. Oh, you said debank. Sorry, I was also responding to someone else who said that the allegations weren't real. But yeah, debank. They debank multiple people. And the decision to fire Khan is purely political decision. I believe Francesca Albanese. Okay, let's have a look. Let me have a look. Francesca Albanese is very based, I will say.
Khan's removal lines up neatly with the fight to neutralize Netanyahu's arrest warrant. Coincidence is a luxury international law can no longer afford. This proves that justice does threaten apartheid Israel and co. So if the ICC is paralyzed and lawyers and judges worldwide must do more. Okay. Did a piece about this a month ago. Highly recommend listening. Okay, cool. I'll have a listen to it. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of ascertain my exact opinion on this based on reading small parts of articles and then them saying one thing in one and then one thing in the other. I don't know. It's obvious why Netanyahu would want to use this.
Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone. But he's trying to turn one group against the other, and he's foisting hate and fear. I speak to Jewish Americans in New York, and they're afraid right now. And I don't think it's accidental that after he made this hate speech against Israel and against me, the next day, a Jew is stabbed coming out of a synagogue. I think, and with a...
Oh, Struggle 4, thank you for the raid. Goated, thank you so much. Goat, my man, thank you for the raid over on Twitch. Shout out Struggle 4.
Of Allah is Akbar, Allah Akbar. And you know what that means. So I think that it's shameful. This thing is very bad for New York. I think it's very bad for peace. But the answer to your question, I intend to come and speak the truth.
I love how this is apparently just being called out for this is bad for peace. The other thing that I was going to say is you were saying that like he moved the goalpost, or that was the argument people were making. I don't think moving the goalposts is a good enough argument to make for Zoran. Zoran can take a tangible action to do something about Netanyahu related stuff, you know, which is highly well recommended by Mohammed El-Kurd on Bad Hasbara, which I'd highly recommend checking out.
Speak for Israel and for the Israeli-American alliance from the podium of the United Nations.
Well, this is a very important point that you're making, though, because this rhetoric from Zoran Mamdani is more than just talking about Israel and a personal fight that he's having with you. I'm wondering if you believe that this rhetoric is making Jewish New Yorkers unsafe. And is that what's behind so much?
It's kind of crazy that they say this as if Netanyahu is the figurehead of all Jewish people. He can't do anything without breaking international law. The thing is he can actually do stuff. It's not specifically arresting Netanyahu. The point that Mohammed El-Kurd has made multiple times, I'd recommend you check this out, is Mohammed El-Kurd basically argued that he can take tangible actions to punish settler organizations inside of New York. And by the way, Mamdani is actually acutely aware of this. He mentions on... Is it not? I thought it was Not on Our Dime, but I think it might be Not in Our Time is the one he was talking about. I don't know. Anyway, I may have just written it down wrong. But what he was saying related to this was basically that there are multiple charitable organizations, including Regavim, which is crazy to me. Regavim is one founded by Smotrich that operates inside of New York to fund settlements and support settlements. And Mamdani could take action against that.
Upset and this anti-Israel sentiment raging across the country.
Well, I do think that Jews feel very uncomfortable because I speak to quite a lot of my friends, and they say, look, it's like a different world. We're afraid to go into the streets. We certainly do not want to wear yarmulkes or any...
Also, by the way, the notion that Netanyahu has like his finger on the pulse of some random Orthodox Jewish guy who is most definitely just walking around in full, you know, in full clothing, it's just not true. Hey, Mr. Terratrove, I don't know why that's not triggering, which is annoying, but thank you so much for the $2. Never again, but only for me. Never again, but only for Netanyahu.
Clothing that would give away that we're Jews. But yes, they feel frightened, and I think that's part of this.
It's also really funny because, like, what would Netanyahu regularly be wearing that would give away he's Jewish? He's not someone who's like really deeply religious, is he?
Incitement language that is sweeping a lot of circles with anti-Semitism, a lot of circles in the West, in the United States, and unbelievably, in New York City, which has the second largest Jewish population in the world after Israel. And I think it's wrong. The whole thing is wrong. And what are they doing? I mean, what Mamdani is supporting, his wife, his family, he celebrated October 7th massacre, the worst massacre against Jews since the Holocaust. He's basically supporting a
Also, by the way, once again, I really do love the hopscotch he does there of going, okay, well, it's the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust, but fundamentally what was happening during the Holocaust was a very different thing, in the sense of Jewish people were targeted on the basis of being Jewish, that October the 7th was Jewish people as Israelis, as opposed to being targeted specifically for being Jewish. It's because of the dynamics of what has happened to the Palestinian people.
To say that he doesn't, but he's supporting the Hamas murderers who raped our women, then beheaded them, burnt babies alive, slaughtered our men, took innocent people hostages, 251 men, women, children, babies. That's who he's supporting. And they're the ones who are responsible for genocide. They would have killed, as their charter says, and as they themselves proclaim, they would have killed every single Jew in Israel and every Jew in the world.
Wait, I do have a question about this. If that was Hamas's goal and their desire, how were they even able to take hostages? If they're commanded to just kill every Jewish person and they're so mental that they can just, that is all they can do, what is there to say? Like, how does that make sense?
So the genocide charge belongs to our enemies. What we're doing is try to fight this genocidal terrorist organization that embeds itself among civilians, prevents us.
By the way, also, the leader of Netanyahu's party, former leader Ariel Sharon, also once said that Israel should have biblical borders.
For moving the civilians out of harm's way, they use gunpoint. That's where the real criminals are. But Mamdani is aligning himself with the criminals, with these murderers. But the worst thing is that he's tormenting his own citizens, his own voters. No, that is wrong. And I've been to New York so many times, Maria, over the years. I've met.
Also, just to say, anyone got a Prime over on Twitch, feel free to throw it my way. It's always appreciated. Oh, I've accidentally just copied one of your messages trying to read it. Still very sad that Hamas somehow snuck onto IOF bases, stole the keys to Apache helicopters and used them to open fire on Israeli cars. I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
All the New York mayors, they all saw themselves as mayors of all New Yorkers, not pitting one part of the population against the other.
Of course. Mr. Prime Minister, let me move on to the war where we saw...
Okay, I didn't want to listen to them take on the war. Mamdani has actually seemingly responded very recently.
So I'm not interested in getting into a back and forth with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What I will say is that here in New York City, one of my top priorities is keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe, keeping every single New Yorker safe. And we know that while Jewish New Yorkers comprise a minority of all New Yorkers, they comprise a majority of the victims of all hate crimes, and it is unacceptable. So I'm not interested in getting into a back and forth with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Nagok burgers! Nagok, thank you for throwing over the Prime. Thank you for supporting the channel, as always. Yeah, I don't know. I wish Mamdani had said something stronger there. I wish he'd said something of a tangible action he's going to take. Like, once again, I think the thing is I'm not even... Like, I don't really care. Like, obviously he was never going to be able to arrest Netanyahu. Complaining about promising it is definitely one thing. But he can take tangible actions. I mean, I see why he's using the ADL's numbers, but that's just because there are so many, like, Jewish people are such a large percentage of the people of the population of New York, so you can see why he's, like, saying that at least, and, you know, trying to cover his ass. But take actual actions against these settler organizations. Take actual actions. You can do that. And perhaps you're right about black or queer New Yorkers facing proportionally less hate crimes. Yeah, I mean, it is probably just ADL numbers, but I know. I don't know. It's just that I think the thing is the criticism of just being like, I hate Zoran, fine, and it's really disappointing. I appreciate why people are saying it. But it is just like, you can do stuff. You can just do stuff. At least explain that the genocidal monster is the cause of the reduction in safety. Yeah, 100%. Great point, Fraggin' Banan Pants. He could just explain it. He could just explain, like, yeah, I think Netanyahu has played a role in this, and I think the actions of someone like him, as opposed to myself, is what's making Jewish New Yorkers unsafe. But, you know. He is announcing, apparently, that 30% announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores. This core set of goods will include all fresh produce, meat and seafood, along with 20 other essential items like cheese, milk and bread. Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods, 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations or sticker shock at the checkout line. Not for our seniors living on fixed nor for it's meant to be nor for our seniors living on fixed income, nor for the parents who rely on whatever. Okay. Also, allowing them to sell West Bank settlements in New York City is unacceptable, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's acceptable in everyone's opinion. You know, I don't know. Selling out Palestine for scraps. What do you mean? In the context of, like, by the way, I don't think it's scraps to prevent one of the biggest. Oh, wait, you're talking about what I just referenced. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were talking about shutting down settler organizations as selling out Palestine for scraps. I don't think that's it's a European thing because I'm European and that's the biggest form of racism here. Yeah. How is this moving the Overton window? Yeah, 100%. What's your Twitch? Oh, I'll throw you my Twitch. It's !Twitch and it'll appear. It'll appear there. But yeah, I don't think targeting settler organizations would be selling. I think that would actually be a. By the way, arresting Netanyahu would actually be a way worse thing than that kind of stuff. Like, going after settler organizations would cause more problems than arresting Netanyahu. Trump would probably have Zoran killed for arresting Netanyahu. So, I don't know. Also, I just want to reference something here. This is by Arnaud Bertrand. This is unsurprisingly a complete inversion of reality. Netanyahu says the ICC under Khan went after him to distract from the sexual misconduct allegations against Khan. But the truth is that the allegations suddenly started surfacing a couple of weeks after Khan informed the US of his decision to seek warrants and after he was told in the public by US senators, including Marco Rubio, target Israel and we will destroy you. This is the actual timeline. 25th of March 2024. Khan informs the US administration of his decision and that warrants would be sought by the end of April. 19th of April. A senior US official warns Khan by phone of disastrous consequences if he proceeds. Khan says he rejects this, citing Israel's lack of cooperation. 12 Republican senators, including Rubio, send Khan a letter warning, target Israel and we will destroy you. By the way, actually just the most insane shit that there are just US senators who are like, if you target Israel. And also, by the way, I was debating people on TikTok about like, oh, why would you talk about this? Why would you talk about this kind of stuff? You know, what sets Israel apart? Is there any other country that is just reflexively defended in this way of, if you go after us in the International Criminal Court, we are going to go after you. Oh, Isaac's just uploaded, has he? Interesting. The No Politic. Trump could, under the US law, order the military to free Netanyahu from custody. The ASPA gives the president full authority to take all means necessary and appropriate to bring about the release of any US or allied personnel being detained or imprisoned by or on behalf of or at the request of the ICC. And he would probably be really happy to do it. 100%, yeah. Yeah, 100%. And then apparently Netanyahu publicly criticizes ICC on social media, saying, under my leadership, Israel will never accept any attempt by the ICC to undermine its inherent right of self-defense. 2nd of May, the sexual misconduct/harassment allegations are first put to Khan in person by members of his team. On the same day, per his ICC submission, that he had been planning to announce the Netanyahu /Gallant arrest warrants. Try a dumb operation to set him free. Of that, I do not actually know. Guys, I'm quickly just going to throw on some music and go pee. What was I going to put on? Intifada, Riyad Awad.
Intifada, 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 intifada. Intifada, 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 intifada. بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع دولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع دولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة تسمو طفولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة تكبر قوتي تكبر 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 قوتي تكبر تكبر قوتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع ثورتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع دولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة تزهو طفولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة تكبر قوتي تكبر 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 قوتي تكبر 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 قوتي. يا شهداء الانتفاضة يا بنات المجد يا شهداء الانتفاضة يا بنات المجد سطرتم ملاحم البطولة رفعتم رايات الحرية سطرتم ملاحم البطولة رفعتم رايات الحرية عبدتم بدمائكم دروب النصر تكبر 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 قوتي تكبر تكبر قوتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع ثورتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة أصنع دولتي بالمولوتوف بالحجارة تسمو طفولتي.
Gosh, my legs hurt. Ow, ow, ow. Hello, everyone. I have returned. I am back. Hello, everyone. Hello. ICC was originally supposed to be an attempt by Europe to achieve some independence from USA, but they just went after sub-Saharan Africans. Then Euro governments undermined the Netanyahu case. Yeah, speaking of that exact story, your legs hurt. How hard did you pee? Oh, they already really hurt. They already really hurt. It's from the gym. I trained them on Sunday. Speaking of, Netanyahu is on his way to the US. He's passed through Greece, Italy, and France. He is currently apparently going over French airspace. Oh, he's already there. He's about to pass over Lyon, and they're not going to do anything about it. So it's not just Mamdani, it's all of these people. Airspace should be arrestable too. I know 100%, 100%, 100%. But, you know, what are these people going to do? Oh, my legs. Ow. Europe going after Africans isn't a surprise. That's where they still have a foothold. Yeah, I know. Macaroni not doing a thing. None of these people will do a thing because ultimately they only liked it when it went after people like Putin. That's it. That's it. That's what it's for. Okay, right. Let's talk about the Iran war. So it would seem that the Iran war is maybe a little bit over. That there are now negotiations. So let's have a look at this. That we're back
US and Iran
that we're back to negotiations.
Have so far paused strikes for the third day in a row. No strikes from either side after nearly 2 straight weeks of nightly bombing. And this comes as U.S. officials, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, are warning about the dwindling supply of U.S. air defense munitions. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations also weighing in, saying President Trump is giving diplomatic efforts a chance.
What the president is doing right now, as we've seen all along, is giving some talks some space.
It's kind of crazy to release a statement like, yeah, I'm giving talks some space when you just spent when you've just been bombing for the last few weeks.
Talks are ongoing. They're happening at every level.
CNN's Zach Cohen is joining me now. Zach, he also said, that the U.S. ambassador to the UN, that the troops have all they need when it comes to this fight with Iran. But we're hearing about these dwindling munitions. What's the sense of what's going on here, Zach?
On these dwindling munitions, right? The thing about the dwindling munitions is this was a problem as to why they shouldn't have done it before, why they shouldn't have returned to this war. They already had major problems around the amount of munitions that they have. They're spending all of the Patriot missiles, the Interceptors, the THAADs, they're wasting them all defending Israel. What has changed specifically the last few days? Is it that Iran has got better at targeting? Or is it, as Tebaba just mentioned, that oil hit a certain price and that's sort of the issue?
Yes, Sarah. Ambassador Waltz did say that the U.S. has all the munitions it needs, but that does not line up with what we've been reporting, frankly, since back in April, when analysts and Pentagon data has shown that the Pentagon's munition stockpile, including these key missile defense systems, are running low because of the high frequency with which they're being used during this war with Iran. And while the White House and the Trump administration is arguing that this temporary pause over the last 3 days is intended to give space for diplomacy, we've learned new details about a consequential meeting that took place at the White House on Friday when discussions were being had about potentially
fired at least half of THAAD ballistic missile interceptors, fired nearly half of Patriot air defense interceptors, launched around 30% of Tomahawk land attack missiles. Yeah, I think the thing is the price of oil, but I think, once again, it's this problem of trying to make sense of coherent strategy to America, because if there was ever a time to strike, it would be right now. Yeah, 100%, 100%. China has never been an enemy of America. The two are way too intertwined to be enemies.
Escalating the conflict with Iran. All of the president's top advisors were in the room, we're told, and there were some hard truths laid out for the president by both Vice President J.D. Vance and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dan Kane, both of them warning about potential concerns.
What's going on? Oh, is my internet dying again?
Concerns related to the options for escalating this conflict. And Kane, in particular, pointed to these warnings about the U.S.'s diminishing stockpile of key munitions, saying that if the U.S. continues to use them at the clip that they've been using them so far in this conflict, they may not have enough for the next war, especially if it's against an adversary like China or Russia. Now, this is just one of the concerns, we're told, that was raised during this meeting on Friday.
That's exactly what I would worry about as well. This could be just a massive manipulation of the oil market in preparation for a really big attack. Trump is meeting Netanyahu, I believe, right now, or tomorrow. Sorry, yeah, Netanyahu's flying over there today. and they're meeting tomorrow. So potentially, I don't know, but maybe they're prepping and putting forward a massive attack, but who knows?
That ultimately preceded the ongoing temporary pause. The other concerns that were raised included potentially massive amounts of civilian casualties inside Iran if the U.S. were to follow through with Trump's threat to strike civilian.
I don't know about that statement as well of Zelensky being completely owned by Washington, because if he was, he wouldn't be striking oil fields right now, would he? Or am I wrong? Because if he was, because him striking oil fields inside of Russia and refineries and production facilities is obviously a massive problem for America in a time where oil isn't as available as you might hope it would be. And yeah, it is also just the next war, because God forbid the US not being at war. Sick society. I know.
Infrastructure, things like power plants and bridges, things of that nature. We're also told that concerns about retaliation against Gulf energy infrastructure and a broader regional escalation were also mentioned. So ultimately, those concerns all taken into account seem to have led to this current pause, but there's still so many questions about whether or not diplomacy can ultimately get back on track and bring an end to this war.
This reporting that CNN has, I was just speaking about with Betsy, about the concerns raised by Vice President Vance and General Kane, concerns specifically about munition stockpiles. Ambassador Walt, in part, was blaming that on aid that the U.S.
No, Isaac said that quote. I think this last week, Trump got cold feet from his generals. Netanyahu is going over to get him back in line. I think... I don't know, because I think the whole thing is this is such an incoherent thing generally in terms of what they're doing. Like, it's just so incoherent. And I guess the thing is even if Russia has stopped exporting oil, the thing is they could use the they would end up having to import oil if their production facilities were damaged enough.
has given to Ukraine. A, it doesn't seem like it's that simple, but I'll let you answer that question. But B, what does this tell you about the overall impact on U.S. military readiness?
Well, there's certainly an impact, Eric, on U.S. military readiness, no doubt about it. But let's put things into perspective. When you look at the...
They're banning the export of gasoline, apparently. I don't know if it's all oil that's... I don't know if all oil is banned.
Expenditure of Patriot missile munitions in Ukraine. You're talking in the hundreds of Patriot missiles that the, like PAC-3 type missiles that the Ukrainians have used. Compare that to as many as 1,430 Patriot missiles that were sent off in the war against Iran. So the U.S. itself has used a considerable number of munitions in this Iran conflict, Operation Epic Fury, and both pre and subsequent operations. So we really have to figure out the defense industrial base in this country. There are serious concerns. General Kane and the Vice President are absolutely right about that. The key question, though, is that we have a long lead time in putting all these weapon systems together, building them, manufacturing them, getting the money allocated for them, and then, of course, finally getting them into the field. So those are the kinds of things that have to be fixed.
Like, 100% all of this is true, but why is this change? What changed? They didn't have loads and then they wasted all of them now, did they? They had limited amounts before they launched this second assault or third assault or whatever assault this is on Iran. They had the same problem to do with munitions. What has changed all of a sudden to mean now Trump's backed off?
The Pentagon is making strides in that direction, but the key thing here is also this. There were efforts under the Biden administration and before even the first Trump administration to do some of this, but there have been some holdups, some of them congressionally induced, some of them bureaucratic inertia that have prevented that. But if the U.S. had decided to focus on Ukraine, for example, instead of Iran, we probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Let's talk about where things stand then now with CNN Global Affairs analyst Brett McGurk. He's also the author of the...
I mean, the problem is for those client states, Iran can just lob drones at them and there just isn't really an ability to intercept them everywhere all over the country at once.
New book coming out, Brink, Inside the Race to Free the October Hostages. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. So let's talk about, they're in a pause moment. That seems to be, I think, the only clear thing when it comes to the status of this war, because 2 weeks of U.S. bombing runs on Iran have seemed to fail to break the deadlock over the Strait of Hormuz still. And now you have reporting that there's this concern that was raised this week about further depleting munition stockpiles if the president escalates this further. How do they navigate a path forward now, Brett? What do you see here?
Kate, it's tough. We're 5 months tomorrow. We'll be at the 5-month mark of when this conflict started. And I had a saying when I used to work in the White House for various presidents, from General Eisenhower when he was president. He used to say, before we talk about decisive military action, lay out all the facts cold and hard. And it appears from the reporting from CNN and elsewhere that this meeting late last week did that and said, here are all the factors as we consider next steps. That's good. That's exactly the type of information a president should be getting. It's probably the type of meeting that should have been had before this started. But where are we now? I would call this, Kate, a tactical pause. I think we had 13 nights of strikes. There are back channels open through Oman and other to try to get the strait back to where it was before those strikes started 2 weeks ago. And that, I'm told, that make.
So what happened? Sorry, that is not really a very coherent explanation. So the US did strikes and then negotiated to get the straits back to the place it was already at? What? Sorry?
Some progress. So tactical pause, let's see where we are, see if diplomacy can get somewhere. But otherwise, we're still kind of stuck because the key variable remains the Strait of Hormuz. And if Iran is not going to is going to maintain that the Strait of Hormuz is its sovereign territory, it controls what goes through the strait, I don't see Washington accepting that, nor do the Gulf states accept that. And therefore, you're kind of stuck. So it's a big week, Kate. We got visits coming to Washington. Netanyahu's here. Zelensky's here.
What do you mean? Why the fuck is Ukraine even doing? What? What does that mean?
We'll see the diplomacy go, but right now, tactical pause.
Where do you think things stand right now? And do you think that this pause in the strikes could perhaps lead to some diplomatic progress?
The pause in the strikes, of course, is welcome, particularly for people, civilians who are caught in this war. It is an indication that the U.S. administration wants to give talks a chance to succeed. And they have said that holding back is giving the diplomats that chance. However, the Iranian side has clearly activated the Houthi militants in Yemen.
This is also just dumb analysis because, by the way, I don't think that Iran specifically activated the Houthi militants. This is much more to do with Saudi Arabia's ongoing issues with Yemen.
The war started in February. The Houthis largely have stayed out of it. This goes back to the Iranian playbook, which is to use different proxies at different times to exert pressure. And this is more familiar territory for the Iranians. Usually they would not get so directly involved in conflict, but have one of their proxies really apply pressure, which is what we're seeing the Houthis trying to do. But also we have a couple of militant groups inside of Iraq also now saying that they will enter the fray. So it's a very cautious moment to say that we are at a return to the ceasefire. Not fully there yet, but it has been good to see 3 nights of no direct military action from the American side or the Iranian side.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you mentioned the civilians too on all sides here, especially when we're just seeing one escalation after another for nearly 2 weeks. So then in your view and your assessment, how long?
I don't even think that they have a basic understanding. I have no idea what they're talking about. I genuinely have no idea what these people are talking about. You're right, they don't really have a basic idea of what's going on. Because apparently as well, this was reported by the Saudis' official Ministry of Defense Government Kingdom of Saudi Arabia said, Ministry of Defense interception and destruction of a number of drones coming from Iraqi territory. The official spokesperson for the MOD, Major General Turki Al-Maliki, stated that air defense intercepted and destroyed a number of drones during the past hours that attempted to target petroleum facilities in the eastern regions and Riyadh. Major General Al-Maliki clarified that these terrorist attempts were launched from Iraqi territory, and carried out by Iranian-backed terrorist militias, affirming the kingdom's legitimate right to defend itself and its capabilities and its retention of the right to respond at the appropriate time and place. And everyone keeps pointing out the oil refinery in Saudi Arabia is still on fire. Like, it's kind of crazy how we just get cope even from CNN, which is kind of a critical outlet.
How long do you think this pause is likely to last?
Well, the pause will last as long as there is hope for the talks to change the dynamic. The concern is that the pause only then allows one side or the other to drag it out. There is very little trust from the Gulf here, from the wider Arab world, and the US when it comes to the seriousness of the Iranian side to actually bring about a diplomatic resolution. So with very little trust, we don't know how long this can last before, again, this last flare-up started because Iran targeted vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. So as long as there can be an agreement not to escalate, let's not forget, we're still in the 60-day window that ends on the 17th of August that was set by the Memorandum of Understanding to get to a longer-term deal. We're nowhere near getting to that longer-term agreement and deal. And so how long it lasts will depend on how serious all sides are, and particularly whether Iranians will stick to what they signed up to in the Memorandum of Understanding, which is to allow the freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz.
And it will soon now be, 5 months since both the U.S. and Israel carried out those initial rounds of attacks, starting this conflict. And I say this because soon we'll see those two leaders of those two countries meeting again. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu heading back to Washington, meeting with President Trump. What will you be looking out for as these two leaders meet? And I'm sure what happens in that meeting will largely determine what the next chapter in this conflict.
Where do you even get a video of Aragchi putting on glasses? Where does that come from? Interesting one.
Like maybe.
Absolutely. It will be important to see what they come out with in terms.
I think also the problem with this is like, yeah, sure, Iran attacked ships, but what did the US do with Lebanon and Israel?
In terms of statements, but also what is the strategy when it comes for the American interests in this war? Not necessarily the same as the interests of Israel, and particularly Prime Minister Netanyahu, who of course is always thinking about the next elections and what would suit him best as a wartime Prime Minister of Israel. So it'll be important to see not only how they deal with Iran, but also Lebanon has been incredibly important. President Trump just received the president of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, in the White House, and the Lebanese desperately want to see Israel withdraw from Lebanese territories, but
okay,
also
I've had enough of listening to this lady. She can be quiet. I'm not enjoying her commentary. Hold on, I'm just trying to find what I wanted to. Okay, here you go. So this is Elijah J. Magnier? I don't know. Anyway, I would not place much confidence in the spreading narrative that America has depleted its munitions stockpile. This is a psychological warfare, and deception and disinformation are integral to it. Remember how Israeli media circulated claims that the army lacked tanks and spare parts shortly before the attack on Lebanon. Do not fall for the same tactics twice. Treat every such claim with the highest degree of skepticism, particularly when it conveniently advertises an adversary's supposed weakness. Well, I mean, one of the other things as well regarding this is I don't think it's misinformation. I think it's true. But the issue is that hasn't stopped the US before. It didn't stop the US recently. Like, the US 100% had that problem already. The US had the issue of not having enough munitions. Chris silencing women. I do apologize. D'Artois, a French streamer I met recently. Oh, nice. An interesting amount. But yeah, I don't see how this problem is supposedly now just coming into effect. Moving Lancers. What do you mean moving Lancers? What's the US doing? Moving Lancers there. Okay, Trump has now said this apparently aboard Air Force One. Let's have a listen.
Nights, don't do it. You know, we're having good talks. So we'll see what happens. I think there's a good chance that something could happen. And if it does, good. If it doesn't, we go back to doing what we were doing 2 days ago.
I just also think that the Iranians are going to be really difficult to negotiate with when you've just done so much bullshit over the last few weeks and months. Loud-ass Air Force One gaggles. I know they suck. If the USA is taking this time to replenish, Iran will do the same, in my humble opinion. This pause is in response to the US halting American aggression. America is the aggression. B-1 Lancer because they're running out of munitions. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you that they have run out of munitions, but the thing is they still have some, but the problem was already there. The problem was already there. And it's also crazy, by the way, how he's negotiating with Iran and he's just like, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, we're having great negotiations, but I might still kill them all. Low on stockpiles. We don't know what they consider low. 2,000 Patriots missiles could be few by the Pentagon standards. Oh, they've definitely burnt through a lot, but the point I don't know if I'm making it very clearly, is I don't disagree with the analysis the US is running out. Everything seems to point to that, and there's no real way to replace them. Plenty of people have been talking about this for quite a long while. They also haven't significantly managed to destroy Iranian missiles, which Iran can just continue firing. But the major problem is that problem existed already. Why on earth do they have just this... Why on earth has it changed? Like, they could have gone in. They shouldn't have gone in, sorry. The US shouldn't have gone in based on the logic of running out of munitions. The US should not be getting involved because they've run out. But they did already. I also, once again, don't understand specifically what Netanyahu has to offer them. Like, what does meeting with Netanyahu give you? What is it that Netanyahu can provide that the US government can't provide? I mean, and when it comes to the Iranians, Iran are always doing this. Iran always do this, by the way. Iran are claiming that they are rejecting Trump's notion of ongoing negotiations with Iran's foreign ministry, declaring it is not engaged in any negotiation with the US, and says Iran has not requested to restart talks because it is not in our DNA. Instead, the US has requested talks, per Tasnim. Iran also reaffirms the situation in the Straits of Hormuz has not changed. I just don't get it. But the thing is, by the way, the Houthis haven't stopped. The Houthis have apparently struck Yanbu again. Fuel depots can be seen burning from the King Fahd Road. Saudi Arabia has the northern Yanbu terminal for its oil exports. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem to be cooling down that much, and so it seems that the US is trying to pause for what reason? They underestimated them, simple as that. Netanyahu gave Trump bad intel. That is why it is speculated Trudeau cut him off the past couple of months, and now he wants to get back in his good graces. Maybe. Houthis is what the Saudis call them. Yeah, I know, I make the mistake, but it's just like, it's hard to do because so many people called them the Ansar Allah Houthi rebels. I don't know. I don't think, by the way, Trump is molesting kids and that's what Netanyahu has on him. I really don't. Or the Houthis. Yeah, the Houthi rebels, I should call them. The Houthis. Let's see if there's any videos about the Houthi strikes. The Ansar Allah Houthis. Breaking Points have released a video called Saudi Oil Market Screwed. I guess this is the thing. I need to get more clickbaity with my titles. Look at first post. Look at their thumbnail. What is this? Wait. There it is. Look at that AI shit. Now I'm too zoomed in over here. Yeah, the Houthis got cooties. That's the thing. What are you talking about, Chris? Wait, what do you mean and what am I talking about? What did I talk about? I know it's an exonym, but it's what most folks understand, so it stops me having to explain mid-sentence. Yeah, the Ansar Allah Houthis is normally what they do. It means calling them God's victors. Have you seen the latest AI slot posts? Yeah, I actually looked at them at the start. I hate it when my favorite YouTubers say stupid shit. What did I say that was stupid? What did I say that was stupid? What have I done wrong? Houthi from... sorry. Right, okay. Let's carry on. Let's carry on with this. There was a strange video of Waltz talking about this. I'll talk about the strikes on Saudi in a second.
Hostage. You raise assets. I want to ask you about the assets. NBC News is reporting the Pentagon is actually rationing some defense weaponry amid diminishing supplies. Is America backing away from a larger military attack because its military stockpile has been depleted?
Well, look, we have to take a step back here in that a lot of stockpiles were depleted, not only from what we gave Ukraine over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years, and the administration inherited, the Secretary Hegseth inherited a depleted situation.
Oh, by the way, I don't doubt that Trump is a pedo. I just don't think it's photos of Trump in compromising positions that is what have turned him into this guy. Because I think if there were, Jeffrey Epstein himself would have released them. If you read through what Epstein says about Trump, Epstein hated Trump, especially later on. He continually made allusions to the fact that Trump had actually, or alluded to the fact that Trump had engaged in some unsavory actions with people. And I do believe those to be true, but Epstein would have released all of this shit because Epstein hated Trump. He really did. You can read this.
Situation from not only Ukraine, but also the ongoing fight with the Houthis under the Biden administration and a depleted military under the Biden administration. So they have decided, one, they're going to new types of munitions, cheaper munitions, new technologies, but also with these new defense budgets, rebuilding our great military. However,
but you acknowledge
I want to be clear.
Do you acknowledge they're depleted at this moment?
I want to be crystal clear. The U.S. military, and I've verified this every which way, has everything that it needs to conduct this campaign as effectively as it needs to be. And I have to tell you, the people that are leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
Well,
it is fucking crazy how this guy just admits, yeah, we've got some depleted stocks. And then he says, no, they're not depleted. Incredible. Truly incredible. Also, right, that's why they killed him. Why they killed who? I do think Trump probably had Jeffrey Epstein killed, by the way. I think Jeffrey Epstein knew a lot about Trump. But I think that gave him quite a lot of power knowing it. But I think he would have released it because he hated Trump as well. I think he would have been more than happy to do it. But I don't know. I don't know why he would have specifically given it to Israel. In tandem with the deepest levels of greed, it's insanity. I know. Leaking things deserves jail. Unfortunately, that is the way is that the US government actually is. They've sent loads of people. All his staff are groomed and picked by the right-wing Zionist clique. 100%. I mean, Lindsey Graham as well. You think that they had something compromising on Lindsey Graham? You can watch videos. You can literally watch a video of Lindsey Graham, okay, saying, I worked my whole life to do this bombing, and being kind of more extreme than Netanyahu. Anyway. What was I going to talk about? Where are the Saudi oil field things? Hold on, let me pull up Barry. I wonder who runs this Barry with the Ned thing. Do you think they had something on Biden? No, I think he was just a psychopath, a Zionist. Okay, where is this? Barry with the Ned. Barry. Oh, Barry with the Ned, that's what I want. Oh no, here it is. By the way, this account too, Egypt's Intel Observer, is pretty good. It's a pretty good account. Anyway, Sentinel-2 imagery captured today confirms extensive fires and possible damage with clearly visible burn scars at Saudi Aramco's Abqaiq oil processing facility, the company's largest oil processing plant in eastern Saudi Arabia. The facility was hit in a drone strike by Iran-backed militia groups operating in Iraq. Like, this is just disaster for the oil market. Where we can go establish a path towards holding these ghouls to account. I think we need... The role of military expenditures in absorbing surplus at this stage of capitalism. It's a natural conspiracy of material interests. What specifically are you talking about in the context of there? This is why I'm confused how the price went down. Because the price is trading basically off the idea that there will be negotiations, you know? That's the basic premise of what might lead to there being a decrease in oil prices. That's as simple as that. That's what it trades on. That they think there will be that there will be negotiations, and that Trump can't go in. I do think if you're talking about jawboning the market, they have today been pushing harder than before the notion about the interceptors. So maybe it's that. I'll be back in 1 second. By the way, I'm just gonna close my blind because it's annoying me. It's actually not the blind, it's the window. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, my legs. I really hate this. This feels really dangerous every time I do it. Okay, I'm here. Oh my gosh. Imagine I just fell off a fucking ladder while streaming. It would certainly add a bit of excitement. Presentation we need. Okay. Getting rid of individuals won't make the problem go away. 100%. I think it's just this belief. Okay, maybe, I guess we'll never know whether, you know, they have stuff on Donald Trump. Who fucking knows whether they have stuff on Donald Trump? Trump definitely was deeply, deeply embedded with Jeffrey Epstein. We can have no doubts about that. But simultaneously, you're right. You get rid of Trump, what happens? Some other fuck replaces him. That's kind of as simple as that. That's just someone else comes back. You lost a bit of weight, Chris. I have absolutely no idea whether I've lost a bit of weight. Maybe from the peak of my weight, but not recently. Anyway, drone struck Saudi Aramco's Abqaiq crude processing facility, the kingdom's largest, with satellite imagery indicating potential damage to multiple processing units. Abqaiq stabilizes the bulk of Saudi crude oil before export, making it one of the most critical nodes in the kingdom's oil infrastructure. It was also the target of the September 2019 drone and missile strike that briefly cut roughly 5% of global oil supply, causing a major shock in oil prices. So then it's what they're responding. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry confirmed the attack, attributing it to Iran-backed militias operating in Iraq and reaffirming its right to respond to the source of the attack. Yahya Saree, who is the spokesman of Ansar Allah, claimed the attack, saying the Yemeni group's drones hit crude supply and transport points on the eastern Saudi Yanbu route. in retaliation for Saudi breach of Yemeni airspace. The competing claims are unverified. Fucking crazy. Your hair is as thick as mine almost. You ever get your hands stuck in it? That shit humbles you. I don't actually know. I don't actually... sometimes when it's tangled a bit, but yeah, not that often. My hair's very... Yeah, I don't know. I don't often get that feeling. Maybe I just don't touch it enough. Went solo on his sexual depravity escapades. Yeah, that is true. Biden also got outed and nothing happened. Even if he himself isn't tied up directly, he's surely being threatened and or rewarded for blocking all of that, or himself and or others. I think Trump wants to set a legacy as well, and I think that this has been bipartisan policy for the longest time. And I think as well, Trump failed regime change, and it's hard to admit that you've totally failed to do the thing that you went out to do. And people try and get out of it and go, oh, come on, we didn't actually do the Iran, we didn't do it to do regime change, we did it to degrade Iran. It's not true, is it? There's an Al Jazeera thing of them talking about regime change. Let's have a look.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is on his way to the United States, where he will meet President Donald Trump in Washington on Tuesday. They previously met last February, just weeks before launching the war in Iran. Netanyahu says he also intends to travel to New York for the UN General Assembly in September. He accused its mayor, Zoran Mamdani, of fomenting hate over his plea to the federal government to arrest Netanyahu for war crimes. Introducing Rob Guy.
I will enjoy my hair, I promise, by only looking at Brent. Brent, if I remember correctly, tracks what the market is willing to pay for stable but expensive oil. Look at Murban, the Omani basket, and the UAE basket. I have no idea.
Pinfold, Senior Non-Resident Fellow at the Gulf International Forum and Lecturer in International Security at King's College London. A warm welcome to the programme. Joining us from London. Rob, reports in US media suggest this US pause in attacks on Iran in the past 2 days may be driven as much by dwindling military stockpiles of precision munitions such as Tomahawks as by its potential desire for diplomacy.
By the way, this guy has a crazy name, Rob Geist Pinfold.
How much is logistics rather than an apparent tactical space for negotiations forcing Washington's hand right now, do you think?
Well, I think that's a very pertinent question, Neve. And, you know, if you actually, we don't know the exact statistics, of course, as to how much the US burned through its supplies during the war. But the signs are that this was a pretty serious use of everything the US had saved for a rainy day. We're talking at least 50% of the US's supply of Patriot missiles, at least 50% of its supply of THAAD missiles. And you mentioned Tomahawks. The US has fired over 1,000 Tomahawks during the war. It can make around 90 to 100 every year. So it's going to take a very, very long time for the US to restock what it's used. And it's, of course, important to note that this is the US's global stockpile.
Rob Geist Pinfold is not an average name. Geist is not an English name either, I don't think.
Of these munitions. So it is basically, and I think, you know, the interesting thing to consider here is how little desired strategic effect it's had. So you've had the global superpower, the US, throwing the kitchen sink at Iran militarily in terms of burning through all of its, so much of its missile stock that is obviously not meant to be used just in the Middle East, but also as a deterrent in Asia against China, in Europe against Russia. And the fact is that the US has failed to induce what it wanted to induce from Iran, i.e. regime change, or at least a systemic change in Iran's behavior. So it really demonstrates the lack of strategic foresight.
By the way, I love the way he said behavior. He went behavior.
Here, and the dwindling utility of military force.
I mean, irrespective, I guess, of the arithmetic surrounding what munitions they have or don't have, Donald Trump says we have far more munitions than anyone in the world and far more than we need. And the Iranians are most certainly implying that they are ready should there be any further military escalation. But at the same time, Rob, there is this appetite for talks. And tentatively, we've seen the Omanis and the Iranians having their own talks to one side. What do you make of any kind of positive movement forward towards a negotiated move out of all of this right now?
But the thing, I can't get over this fact. I really do not understand how these munitions factor in when they already had the same problem to do with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is
He should call his son Poltergeist. Yeah, clever.
not a return to open conflict. Neither side seems to actually want a return to open conflict. What both sides have been doing is trying to use military force as a signaling exercise to show the other party that they are not coming at the negotiations from a position of weakness, but also to demonstrate resilience and show that they are actually prepared to escalate if and when is necessary. The fact that we are now in a lull in the fighting demonstrates that both sides preference talks. This suggests that there has been some kind of tentative progress. We don't know what yet, but the issues are still profound and very, very difficult to overcome through either diplomacy or indeed through military force. There's the divide over the Strait of Hormuz, the fact that Iran does not want to give up control of the Strait of Hormuz. There's, of course, now the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the Houthis who are blockading that to Saudi shipping. So the long and short of it is that even if the missiles have stopped firing for now between the US and Iran, the global economy is still going to suffer serious second-order effects from this conflict.
A huge amount to untangle if the drive is towards diplomacy, Rob. On this, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, we've just said, he's heading to Washington. At the same time, appear to be, as you say, in this lull, this holding pattern of tit-for-tat strikes. Some are calling it potentially space for negotiations, but there's a huge concern, isn't there, that whenever Netanyahu goes to Washington, D.C., goes to the Oval Office, he potentially has the president's ear. Do you expect his visit to precede any kind of decisive Trump action?
Well, I think it's interesting to see how the wind has changed within Israel and how Israelis see the conflict. And indeed, this visit by Netanyahu to the US was on the cards for a very, very long time. And there was all sorts of speculation that Netanyahu might not even meet Trump, which I think is demonstrative of the crisis in US-Israel relations, and particularly of the increasing lack of trust between those two leaders, Trump and Netanyahu.
I don't think that's right. I don't think there is an increasing lack of trust between the two of them. I think the two of them are just fine.
Netanyahu, but when you look at this from an Israeli angle, when the war initially started, the Israelis were feeling very, very sure of themselves that they'd managed to get the US to go in with them from the conflict from day one, which was different to the previous.
But the US can't restock their weapons during a short pause. That's not possible. They don't have enough.
Year's war between Israel and Iran, of course, where the US only joined late. But as the conflict unfolded, the Israelis, like anyone else, found Trump very, very difficult to predict and were increasingly frustrated at his ability to sort of cut deals or negotiate with all sorts of actors in the region, be it the Gulf states and indeed Iran, without involving the Israelis, but then tying the Israelis to agreements. So there has been an increasing disillusionment, I think it's fair to say, in Israel, in the centers of decision-making there, in terms of throwing their weight behind the United States and simply joining the war from the beginning, because there's this fear that Israel will then be compelled to cease fire when the United States determines it should cease fire, rather than when Israel determines when it should cease fire. So having the US as a partner, sure, it means that they can hit more targets in Iran, but it also means that the Israelis are more constrained than they feel comfortable with.
Rob, really good to hear your thoughts on all of this. Dr. Rob Geist-Pinfold, lecturer in international security at King's College London. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I really don't know what's about to happen with all of this. Maybe there will be some kind of ceasefire or peace, but I really don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I guess that we can talk a little bit about the West Bank. I think it's worth discussing a little bit at least. The situation in the West Bank, by the way, is fucking crazy.
Israeli settler.
Once again, I remember when some people were like, oh, this Iran stuff is a distraction from what Israel is doing to Gaza and people shouldn't focus on it. But it's crazy. But just have a listen to this. This is... yeah, it's interesting to say the least as to what's happening. It's horrifying.
Reportedly stormed the compound near the village of Taibe in the occupied West Bank. Footage shows settlers inside the Abu Faza compound and around Palestinian homes. Settlers have repeatedly attacked the area in the past, often harassing the residents. Well, this is the latest in a string of violent Israeli settler incidents in the occupied West Bank. In Kalandia refugee camp north of occupied East Jerusalem, one Palestinian has been injured in an Israeli raid. The military has also moved into the town of Tuku, carrying out arrests and searching several homes. Let's head over to Nida Ibrahim now, who's joining us live near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Nida, some more settler attacks and raids by Israeli soldiers. What more can you tell us about what's been happening?
Why do you think we're all going to burn alive specifically in 2028? What is it that's happening in 2028?
Well, what's been happening is that the Israeli settlers continue their attacks against Palestine.
Did I see the Jubilee video? Which one? I can't watch Jubilee videos on here. That Jubilee video, actually, I do. If you're talking about the Republican Zionists, the Republicans versus other ones, that was one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. That Jubilee, their new debate style thing, it sucks so much. So much. By the way, if any of you aren't familiar with the lineup for this Jubilee recent debate, it is crazy. It is... Hold on, I'll show you.
Hello and welcome to
I'm not going to show... This is Checkmate. This is the most insane shit imaginable. Okay? So, this Jubilee debate, you have Deaf Noodles over here. This guy, by the way, for a Republican, did actually know a lot of... quite a lot of this, quite a lot about, he seemed like more competent than you'd expect most people. This guy has a Pepe holding an AK-47 shirt. Incredible. This guy I don't know anything about. That's Nick Matau. This is some woman called Eden, who's Eden, who's an idiot. This is Iranian Nazi guy, and that's Matt Nuclear. Wait. The concept is amazing. So you win or lose by making a claim about something, and then they fact check it, and you get negative points as a result. And one of them, I think they lose a point here for saying 90% of Gaza has been destroyed. And they go, oh, actually, it's 70%, and they lose a point, and it's just like, ugh.
Palestinians.
But we'll go back to this. Sorry, I'm not watching that though.
Mostly in their homes at night, intimidating them. And what happens is that usually Israeli forces will...
Oh, Jubilee gets the same people. Because the truth is this debate stuff is... Or whenever Jubilee or whoever sell this as, like, reaching a point, it's entertainment. I think maybe the only thing is you can make people feel more comfortable arguing their own personal beliefs. Maybe amongst their family, or more confident in saying and talking about topics and shaping a narrative. But that is something that is accessible through everything else. It is not specially, uniquely available to debate. Yeah. And it is funny. I think it is kind of a good thing of going down to drill down to the logic of what Zionism is and explain why it is like Nazism.
Come in, and instead of curbing these settlers, they would conduct arrests in the occupied West Bank amongst Palestinians. This is one of the incidents that we are standing here in Deir Jrir, where one of these incidents have happened. Settlers were around the village, and then Israeli forces came in, and they've arrested a number of people from the village of Deir Jrir, where we are right now. In general, Palestinians feel that they're being caged, that they're being restricted from movement by these continued checkpoints, gates, you name it. And just this morning, a 6-month pregnant woman had to lose her infant, her baby, her fetus, because she got stuck at...
By the way, that is just such an insane statement. Losing your baby because you were forced to sit at a checkpoint because you're a Palestinian is fucking insane. Has the PA ever actually been... Has the PA actually been successful in killing and imprisoning all resistance fighters? No. Israel has played a large role, largely by destroying the refugee camps in part. The PA collaborated in it, but yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. What the PA is doing, that the PA's response is to do absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing in response.
one of these Israeli imposed checkpoints. She was not able to move, although she was in an ambulance. So this gives you an idea about the difficulty of the situation all across the occupied West Bank. Settlers did not stop at intimidating and attacking Palestinians wherever they are, but they've also have been getting more.
Sorry, you asked me, have I watched a 4-hour debate between Nick Matau on the Sean Kelly YouTube channel? No.
I am so sick of the virtue signaling of the pro-Palestinians. Stop pretending like you guys care about every single human.
What even is this? I am not watching a 4-hour debate video. I'm good. I'm good.
More and more caravans trying to set up new illegal Israeli settlement outposts. All of that shows us the reality of the situation, whereby the Palestinians who are defenseless remain feeling that they're trapped, that they have nothing to do, that they have no one to protect them, while the Israeli settlers have the support of the Israeli army and have the impunity to continue attacking Palestinians without any accountability.
Nida, how tense would you say that the situation is?
The Israelis just love holding people up at checkpoints. It's just something that they absolutely love. These people just absolutely love doing this kind of stuff.
There now in the occupied West Bank, as violence has actually turned deadly in the last few days.
Well, it started on Friday when Palestinians were trying to fend off, to defend themselves from Israeli settlers who were raiding their village and attacking them. But then you've seen how Israeli politicians and officials have soon tried to change the reality of what happened and claim that it was the Palestinians who've attacked a group of hikers. Of course, as Palestinians would tell you time and again, that Israelis do not come in peace, and they are already on occupied territory, and they've already been attacking Palestinians. So they're the ones who are instigating tensions. But it's Palestinians who find themselves paying the price of that tension. And we've had remarks from the Israeli army, although very shy, but they're sort of admitting that one of those who have been killed in Til village in Nablus has been hit by friendly fire, meaning the Israeli forces. And we've been saying that since Friday and since the...
So yeah, I don't know if you heard this, as I said earlier. If you remember that story about an Israeli seizing the weapon of Palestinians in the West Bank. No, sorry, having his weapon seized and then being killed. As it turns out, he was killed by Israeli fire, or at least one of them was.
Attack has happened that the Israeli forces started shooting randomly, indiscriminately. We have to remember that this time is very sensitive because we're getting closer to the Israeli elections, and Netanyahu wants to stay in power and he wants to appease his far-right members and coalition by showing the voters that he will be cracking down more and more on Palestinians, and that you had other politicians, including the National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who today was saying that Netanyahu wouldn't have dared to do what he's been doing without the push and the support of Ben-Gvir. So he's trying to get some sort of credit for the attacks against Palestinians.
They're hikers now, not settlers. Yeah, I know. The thing is, though, by the way, even when they claim to be hikers, you know that one of the things that they do is they just openly admit that their goal is to harass people so that they can provoke incidents. There's a video of Alicia Yered talking about it. I'll show you it. Hold on, let me show you it.
יוצרים באופן מודע חיכוך. אתם יוצרים...
Okay, so this is... I don't know what on earth the context of this is. So this is some, like, settler podcast, which is a crazy concept that these, like, Hilltop Youth guys are watching podcasts. It's unbelievable to me. I guess, like, the Islamic State are probably watching podcasts as well. But have a listen to this.
אתם
You are consciously creating friction.
יוצרים באופן מודע חיכוך. אתם יוצרים באופן...
You are consciously creating an expansion of the constant line of the perimeter of these parameters.
מודע הרחבה של קו המגע, של הפרימטר, של הדברים האלה. ויש פה...
And there is a strategic vision here.
פה חזון אסטרטגי ש...
That Haggai Seagull, I'm going to call him Haggai Seagull, Haggai Seagull, and this generation of settlers have always sought to expand.
גם חגי סגל והדור הזה של המתנחלים עשו כל הזמן להרחיב, כל הזמן...
Constantly to engage in friction with the enemy, so that the enemy retreats.
להתחכך עם האויב.
This guy also, by the way, seemingly here has a collection of bobbleheads of Israeli PMs. No, they're not AI action figures. They're Israeli, like, senior figures. That's Moshe Dayan there. That's David Ben-Gurion. The rest are kind of hard to tell. I don't know who that is. I don't know who this one here is. It kind of looks like Yitzhak Rabin, if I had to guess. I don't know. One of them will be Ariel Sharon, but that is definitely Moshe Dayan, but he was never prime minister.
כדי שהאויב ייסוג אחורה. והדבר הזה...
And this ultimately produces violence and friction. Friction equals violence.
זה יוצר בסופו של דבר אלימות וחיכוך. חיכוך שווה אלימות. עכשיו, האם אתם יוזמים...
Now, are you the ones initiating this?
זה? אז כן, אתם יוזמים את הרחבת...
Are you constantly initiating the expansion of the perimeter?
הפרימטר כל הזמן.
That's Shamir on the right. Oh, thank you.
האם בצדק? האם מתוך חזון אסטרטגי?
Out of a strategic vision, but are you initiating violence?
כן, אבל אתם יוזמים אלימות. לא רצח.
Not murder.
לא...
Not a settler violence campaign, and not whatever people imagine.
קמפיין השקרי הזה של אלימות המתנחלים, ושל... לא יודע.
No, third from the right is... That's Ben-Gurion here. Third from the right is Moshe Dayan here. That's her... Oh, wait, third from the right, my left, yeah. That's... I see it on the left, you see it on the right. That is Theodore Herzl there, yes.
כל מה שמדמיינים סתם להרוג...
No way, he paid $120 for that.
נוקות בשנתם. אבל... מה כן?
אנחנו חד משמעית...
So this is what this guy, Elisha Yered, who used to work for Ben-Gurion, said. We unequivocally initiate friction, and we are proud of it. And I believe the IDF today also initiates friction. After many years, incidentally, of not doing this. So, by the way, this is Elisha Yered, like a key figure in the settler movement, who fucking murdered someone, by the way. He fucking murdered someone who got away with this. So he has $110 for the Prime Ministers of Israel value figurines. Guys, donate $119 right now and I'll buy the Prime Ministers of Israel figurines. So that's, okay, that's Ariel Sharon. That's obviously Golda Meir. That's Menachem Begin. That's Rabin, right? Yitzhak Rabin. Which one's Levi Eshkol? Obviously David Ben-Gurion here. Is Herzl... Where's Herzl? So Herzl's like a DLC pack you gotta buy. Actually, guys, donate $110 or I will buy these guys and I'll put them in the background every stream. And yeah, the IOF have always been doing this stuff. They've always been doing this stuff. So wait, can people list this off? So Sharon... Wait, so that's Sharon. That's Ben-Gurion. That's Begin. That's Golda Meir. Oh, wait, they have individual ones. Okay, so we can work out who they are from this. That's the Menachem Begin. Nation's great figures. That's Shamir. Okay. That's Moshe Sharet. I know these names. I don't know what they actually look like very much. That's Shimon Peres. That's Rabin. Oh, that's Rabin. Okay, Shimon Peres and Rabin look kind of similar. I'm gonna be real with you. I've seen what he looks like. Ariel Sharon. I like how they made Ariel Sharon fat. I think he died of a heart issue. Peres, Rabin, and then Eshkol. So where do you get the additional ones? So this is a must-have for the Jewish living room. This is a must-have for the Jewish living room and office, for the Zionist Israelis and history enthusiasts and action figures collectors. So where are the others? What else do they sell? Contemporary Israeli gifts. Oh my god, that's oh no, it's not Khomeini. I looked at it. It's I think it'll be Rabbi Uziel figurine. Abba Eban figurine. Yosef Spruntzak, his son wrote an interesting thing. I can't remember what his name is. Rabbi Shlomo Goren figurine. This guy has all of them. This guy has all of the figurines. Can I use the amiibos for the Nintendo Switch unlock? Can I unlock them in Smash Bros? Yes, you can. That's the Herzl figurine, which is out of stock. Zayav Jabotinsky does just look like a Nazi. I don't know what it is about the guy. I mean, he was, and we know he was, but he really does look like one. Menachem Begin. Chaim Weizmann. I didn't realize Weizmann looked that much kind of like Lenin. He was clearly styling himself on that. The Ariel Sharon one, it's okay. Hannah Senesh. Yigal Alon. It's weird seeing... I might need a copy of these. Eliza Ben Yehuda. Joseph Trumpeldor. I forgot about this guy who has like a hook for a hand. Henrietta Zold figurine. Haim... oh my god, this is Mayim Bialik's grandfather. Great-grandfather? Grandfather? Some of these, at this point, who is buying a figure of Ahad Ha'am in 2027? Like, even Zionists wouldn't like him. Okay, that is the Ovadia Yosef. That's Rabbi Kook. Is there a Kahana one? No, they surely wouldn't sell that. Why would you want these as well? Pinhas Rutenberg, Raphael Aitan. So this guy has every single one. Naomi Schmer. How is that out of stock? How is the Naomi Schmer out of stock? Who is buying these? Max Nordau, Naftali Hurt Imber, Jacqueline Kahanov. But I know most of these people, but someone like this I'm not so familiar with. Or Naftali Hertz Imber figurine. His name is Naftali. Do you think this is actually every Israeli has the same name? Their surname is always figurine. Like, yeah, who is Yosef Haim Brenner, excuse me. I don't know that person. Yeah, I would not give money. I would not give money to Piece of History, contemporary Israeli gifts. Wait, what are the t-shirts they sell? So, guys, I'm going to prison for illegally 3D printing the Theodore Herzl Piece of History gift. Oh, we can get 10% off though, guys. So what do you mean by prosecutor assassinated? What do you mean by prosecutor assassinated? They've got nice t-shirts. Iron Lady, Golda Meir. Moshe Dayan t-shirt. If you will it, it is no dream. Menachem Begin. The Zayav Jabotinsky one looks so weird. What else can we get here? Limited editions. The Ink flag. God, this is actually really successful. Israelis are going to go crazy for this. The Pioneers wine. Wow. I'm 3D printing this. I'm going to prison for heading to China to 3D print the Ink flag limited edition. Oh my god. The balcony edition. Fuck, it's limited edition. Guys, I need $27.20. It is limited edition. This is limited edition. I need it now. What am I meant to do without this? Look, it's 14 centimeters by 10 centimeters. It has a symbol of the Zionist Congress on it. Mom, I need your credit card now. The Roaring Lion Monument. Oh my god. It's on sale. Can someone just put their card details in the chat? No, I'm kidding. That will probably get me banned if I request that. I am doing a joke. I'm doing a little joke. I apologize. For being silly. It's so little. I mean, who doesn't want a Golda Meir figure? Wait, he has every single one on a podcast. What is this? What is this podcast? Tamir Dorstel. Dortal, sorry. His name is Dortal. His name is Dortal, not Dorstel. Podcast. No one is watching his podcast, by the way. Although I've just overtaken him in subscribers. What's the odds that Ethan Klein comes back and he's like, yeah, I got some new figurines. I got some new figurines. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream there. I'm sorry. I realize I won't do this TikTok thing where I'm live on TikTok first tomorrow. I will ask, would some of you be interested in that? It wouldn't eat up into regular streaming time, and I'd still be streaming for about 4 hours regularly. I'm sorry it's shorter today. 4 or 5 hours, I think. But would you be interested if I did, like, the live debates maybe from 2 till 3:30, and then after 3:30 it's back to the normal streams, so you guys, so people who aren't interested in the debates at all can hop back in? But if you are interested in that, let me know. Yeah, just let me know. So I could just throw the debates up on here from like 2 till 3:30, but after that back to normal, like completely normal stuff. I wouldn't, and if you don't like them, it's fine. I get it. They won't affect you. They won't affect you or impact you at all. Yeah, the no politic here is the bonus episode clip. It's us reacting to jokes about Palestine in films and television. Well, television, actually. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, as always, everyone, for being here, supporting. Shout out, you guys. Goated. See you in a bit.